Hey, LJeH here, founder of Peaceful Inner Warriors United, an initiative to help call us home to ourselves despite the chaos and madness of what is happening in the mainstream that is toxic, polluted, and poisoning those who are drinking from that media source, which then ultimately filters into the consciousness that is put out into the world. And I had a friend who has a parent that is in very great fear at the fact that there is propaganda around what will happen with the passports to travel freely, which is not even an option. Because as men and women of this world, we have a right to travel. Driver's licenses, even, we think we have to do that in order to drive, which is true because driving is a commercial activity. But traveling by vehicle or otherwise is absolutely allowed, because unless you accept a lower status, such as a personage, that will put you in the jurisdiction of the corporation and their employees that are trying to label you with a charge, to place a charge or a lien against you, the man or woman, using the person of you who you think is the same as the man or woman, thinking they are synonyms when in fact they are two different categories, because a person is also a trust or a corporation. So those are synonyms for a person but not for a man or woman. And you can own a person, but you cannot own a man or a woman. So when a man or a woman stand as we are and demand service from public servants who are hired as private individuals in potentially the private sector of the corporate sector, we have to understand that there is still an element of personal liability, whether you are working at the public level of the, or whether you are working at the private level of the public sector, or whether you are working as a public official in government or the police force, or what comes after the government in the hierarchy of creation, which comes after man or woman, which comes after God as the pinnacle. And this is where we understand that when we stand as a man or a woman, we say, no, we do not consent. I do not consent. This I, right here, I see what I do not consent to, and I say no. I will not bend the knee to a lie. I will not do it for profit. I will not bend my knee to a lie, because I understand the price that my soul would pay for doing so, for selling out and lying, or pretending that a lie isn't happening and being in denial. Didn't even know I am lying. Please don't be in denial, for that is when you invite Luciferian energy into where the light is meant to come, the false light of conditional love. Please understand that fear is false emotion appearing real, that you give your energy to by getting locked into a mental pattern that keeps you bound in a cycle of suffering outside of yourself, out here. Let us bring it back into our center, which is what the inner acronym means. Individual needs necessitate emotional resilience and resonance. Resilience is about learning to maneuver the high rise of emotional awareness. We're going to talk about on Monday night at 8 o'clock. When the young ones come to gather with leaders of all ages and stages, where we are coming together in common unity to build community, to welcome the gifts that each of us bring to the table so that we can put it on the table and see how we can create the web of light that keeps this ship afloat. Not the old one that is dying, but that can be the phoenix rising from the ashes of that which was, without that needing to be because there were destruction and devastation, the way that if you look at the agendas, you know they have planned, and by they it is the controllers, the ones who are prescripted, the white coats, the doctors, for we are indoctrination, not the doctors. So many doctors are beautiful. I liked mine until she refused to give anyone a doctor's note for needing an exemption for that which is not healthy to wear a diaper on your mouth or face when it's not necessary, just because a memo came down to say there is something dangerous to beware of. And it's not to say there's not anything to beware of, but certainly breathing in my own circulated yuck, that's meant to leave. That's why we exhale and let it go. It's not meant to stay in the flow. The recirculation, recycling, that's very Luciferian, in fact. So all of this is to say, do not give your energy to the fear matrix that would have you think that it's going to be required for you to be able to do anything or buy anything or have a life of any kind, for you to need a passport. Please also understand that this is a corporatocratic takeover, and right now, yes, we may lose some privileges, but the ones who are evicting us from those premises in the name of a corporate bylaw become the man or woman that we look in the eye and say, you are the one who I will hold personally liable for trespassing against me in my Charter of Rights and Freedoms, which are not to be violated. The Emergency Measures Act even say that within the fine print that has been discarded or disregarded. It is time for us to hold the ones who are upholding lies personally liable. Personally liable. Are you able to lie, or are you able to stand on the truth? We'll find out. Your actions will reveal you. Will you get a fly in the mouth? Or will you rise above and do what is right? At expense to yourself, potentially, yes. And yet, if your job requires you to put another man or woman at personal loss, or to create damages against them because they are not able to make a livelihood the way they were prior to, when you prioritized your position over people, over a man or a woman acting in a position such as what you are doing too. Once those garbs come off, we're all naked, and we all only have the memories of the choices that we have made to either live in alignment or to live an evil experience of live backward. Please pay attention to the words. Scrabble can teach you a lot if you realize it's not absurd to say, hey, you can be scared, or you can just switch the C and the A and make it sacred instead and realize we gotta bring the sacred back. Yes, it's time for that. So I hope you'll come with us on Monday at 8 p.m. when the young ones and us come together to be in common unity with one another in community where misfits fit. Home for Soulful Seekers is the group on Facebook. Have a look and then make sure you're subscribed to Peaceful Inner Warriors United on my YouTube channel. YouTube is where you go to view the messages until we can't, if that it does come to. I hope not, because I always just try to uplift and to help you remember to be yourself regardless if anyone else gives you permission to be authentically yourself. It's true that you must do what only you can do, and if you wait for someone to give you permission, they will not. So don't. LJeH, namaste, namako. And I say I hope you know how amazing you